As Americans, we take for granted the comforts of a civilization that was built upon the American ideals that we enjoy today. Values such as independence, pride, loyalty, and an enduring optimism, even during hardship, were the bedrock of Americanism. And those ideals created the comfortable conditions in which we live today. But ideals on their own did not create America. It was the soldier, the mill worker, loving parent, and churchgoer who from America's start lived by these values and ultimately turned ideals into action, molding this country through their efforts to contribute to the greater good of all Americans. One such American, who I proudly call my great-grandfather, was Adolphe Francois-Xavier Gagnon, a French-Canadian immigrant, textile mill worker, World War I veteran, devoted Catholic, and father of 8 children. In this video, I will be telling his story, which in turn will tell the story of countless Americans who lived lives so impressive by today's standards, we can only strive to mirror them. While times have changed since my great-grandfathers, we should try to be more like our ancestors, especially those who inspired us the most to keep the torch of civilization burning. Adolphe Francois-Xavier Gagnon was born to parents Onésime and Adèle Anstille on the 9th of September 1895 in Saint Marcel, Lillette, Quebec, Canada. The small town, initially dependent on agriculture and later brick manufacturing from clay deposits, had a beautiful little church called the Notre Dame des Bons Accueils Church, which was the 10th oldest church built in Quebec. Lillette is just under 8 miles from the northwestern border of modern-day Maine. Adolphe was baptized by Francois-Xavier Dulac, whom he was named after and was also his godfather. His godmother was family friend Georgiana Pelletier d'Ancos, husband of Pierre d'Ancos. A postcard sent to Adolphe by his godfather and baptismal priest, depicting himself on a canoe, reads, "My dear Francois-Xavier Adolphe, 1,000 good wishes for 1911 from your godfather who loves you a lot. Your former priest, your godfather, priest, January 3rd, 1911. In April 1910, Adolphe arrived in the United States with his family, all in search of work. In fact, he started work the very next day of his arrival at Pepperell Textile Mill, a cotton textile, at the age of 14 years old. A piece from March 1945's Pepperell Sheet, a monthly newsletter covering news in the mill, describes his work ethic there. He started as a band boy in the spinning room, which is now numbered 54B, and soon he was promoted to doffer. A year later, he was transferred to the sheeting cloth room, where his special work was washing oil spots out of the cloth. Like every other job that Adolphe tackled, he did it well, so well that soon he was doing other things, measuring, folding, book folding. He wanted to know how to do every job in the department. And in his sincere, conscientious way, he set about learning them all. Adolphe was one of 1 million French Canadians who crossed the border from Quebec to New England before 1930 in search of employment in the mills, with Biddeford being one industrialized town to see the brunt of this immigration. It was at Pepperell Mill where Adolphe met his love, Delvina Canuel, a worker in the spinning room whom Adolphe sent and received postcards before, during, and after the war. On May 28, 1910, while still employed at the mill, Adolphe appeared to the draft board for the First World War in Saco, Maine. He was sent to Camp Devens in Massachusetts to attend initial training, assigned to Company Delta, 303rd Infantry, from mid-June until July, before he embarked for Montreal on the troop ship Burma. Because he was sent out while still assigned to his initial training unit, he likely completed expedited catch-up training while on the Burma, highlighting the desperation to quickly get troops to France during this time. He conducted training including marching drills, gas mask practice, PT consisting mainly of calisthenics, and lectures on trench warfare. Here I'd like to mention a short story from my great-aunt Georgette Gagnon, his daughter, in her 2004 memoir, In the Footsteps of Adolphe Gagnon and Delvina Canuel, where she writes, "One of the problems soldiers faced during World War I was a lack of food. They ate whatever they could put their hands on. Even while crossing to Europe, food was scarce. They found big bags of onions stacked on the ship, and though Papa hated onions, he was so hungry he ate them anyway. After the war, his taste for onions changed, and he made sure Maman put in large onions every time she made soup. We all remember Papa eating that large onion in his bowl. On the battlefield, they all had the same problem, and to ease their hunger for food, they would steal vegetables from gardens they passed along the way. After a brief holding period, he was permanently assigned to Company Foxtrot, 28th Infantry Regiment, 1st Division, on August 14th, and it was with them that he would soon fight the Battle of St. Mihiel. This St. Mihiel salient was a German-held bulge southeast of Verdun, which interrupted Allied supply routes. General John J. Pershing ordered 3 American corps, totaling 550,000 American troops, to eliminate the German salient. The Americans fought alongside 2 French corps, totaling 110,000 French troops. On a rainy night of September 11th, American soldiers like Adolphe assembled into muddy trenches and shell holes to prepare for a morning from hell. From 1 a.m. onward, Adolphe experienced a night of American artillery bombarding the German salient for 4 full hours. The ground shook like an earthquake as over 1 million shells were fired. At 5 a.m., whistles blew ordering men to leave their trenches and advance forward. For the next few days, American and French forces pushed a distance totaling about 15 miles through, at times, knee-deep mud, encountering barbed wire, abandoned trenches, machine gun nests, and dead bodies of man and horse. 15,000 Germans were taken prisoner, and while most of them did retreat, Americans still faced machine gun fire and mustard gas attacks. By September 15th, the salient was completely collapsed, a major victory for the Allied forces. Following St. Mihiel, Adolphe was sent with the 1st Division into the Meuse-Argonne offensive, where the division advanced through the Argonne forest in late September 1918. There he endured nearly a month of intense fighting in dense woods against fortified German positions, under constant machine gun fire, shelling, and gas attacks. On October 23, 1918, he was wounded by shrapnel and suffered exposure to mustard gas, injuries later confirmed by a 1932 Veterans Administration letter. He spent nearly 3 months recovering at Base Hospital 113 in France before returning to the United States in February 1919. After passing through a convalescent center in Camp Devens, he was honorably discharged on February 28, 1919. 5 months after returning home from France, Adolphe married Delvina Canuel, the young woman he had first met in the spinning room of the Pepperell Mill on July 28, 1919, at St. Patrick's Church in Somerset, Massachusetts. Soon he had returned to work at the mill, working the night shift, while Delvina worked the day shift, ensuring that one parent was always home with the children. By 1932, after years of steady work, Adolphe was promoted to second hand in the sheeting cloth room at the mill. He was described as a patient and fair supervisor, a stark contrast to the harsh supervisors that he had known as a young worker. He even brought manuals home from work, determined to contribute to the continual improvement of the factory's machinery. Adolphe rented a small garage near the apartment, where he did car repairs for friends and neighbors, supplementing his family's income. He learned these skills through training opportunities offered to returning World War I veterans. Together, his and Delvina's tireless work ethic carried their family through the Great Depression, during a time when many Americans struggled to survive financially. The family understood frugality. Adolphe built 2 large wooden bins in the cellar and filled them with sand to preserve carrots, potatoes, and onions through the winter. He and Delvina even made their own laundry soap using lye and discarded French fry grease from Liggett's drugstore to save money. Despite these hardships, the family were well dressed in family photos, a true testament to their parents' dedication. During the summers, the family took vacations to Camp Ellis and long road trips to Quebec to visit extended family. In Adolphe's later years, a prostate surgery left him in a weakened state, and 1 year later, he retired from the Pepperell Mill in 1960, closing a career that has spanned more than 4 decades. On September 17, 1963, Adolphe Francois-Xavier Gagnon passed away at the age of 67. He left behind a lifetime of honest work and quiet devotion to his country, his family, and his career. If one word could describe his legacy, it would be provider. He gave himself fully, with humility, diligence, and love, and in doing so, built the foundation of his family's future, and through men like him, the future of the United States as a whole.